An article in the New York Times recently announced that a new study shows, and I quote, "The key to weight loss is diet quality, not quantity," which caught my eye because scientifically speaking, the quantity of your diet is absolutely the primary driver of your weight. It's an indisputable scientific fact that if you burn 1,500 calories a day, but you eat 2,000 calories worth of bananas, you're going to gain weight. And if you eat 1,000 calories worth of Twinkies, you're going to lose weight. Also, you might have scurvy. But ultimately, it is about quantity and not quality. Reading the article, as usual, somewhat debunks the headline. But in case other people are confused, I wanted to make a video laying out what is right and what is wrong about the headline, the article, and the study behind it. So to start off, the study itself didn't even test quantity versus quality in diets, and so it should absolutely not be used to support one over the other. If it were comparing those two factors, you could imagine it would involve at least two groups of people. One that ate high quality food in whatever amount they wished. High quality meaning nutritious, home cooked, whatever trait you're using to define that. And the other group could eat whatever food they wished in low quantity, fewer calories than they burn on a daily basis. In fact, this study compared two groups of people, all of whom ate high quality food and none of whom counted calories in their food. On average, both groups lost weight, but we have no way of knowing if they lost more or less weight compared to people who learned to count calories. The actual difference between the two groups in this study was that one group ate low-fat foods and the other ate low-carb foods. The actual purpose of the study was to determine if people's genetics or insulin levels impacted how much weight they lost on these diets, as people like Gary Taubes have made millions telling the world. The study results contradicted Taubes' assertions. Neither insulin levels nor genotype predicted how much weight people lost, regardless of whether they were on low carb or low fat. In other words, sorry, but a calorie is just a calorie. That should have been the headline, but instead they went with this idea that can almost be interpreted to contradict those findings. Calories don't matter, and it's all about what foods you choose to eat, despite the fact that the study found that the actual foods you eat don't matter. In a perfect world, that wouldn't be the takeaway here, though it could be the impetus for another study to follow up on this one. When you conduct a study and you find something strange that you weren't looking for, you don't generally publicize that as your finding. You set up a new study with a new hypothesis to further investigate that strange thing and verify that it's not just a statistical blip. Until we get another study, I will say that it is interesting that people, on average, lost weight on this diet in which they weren't actively counting calories. The diet involved teaching subjects how to choose more nutritious foods while avoiding heavily processed bad foods that contain a lot of sugar, for instance. How to pick whole wheat over white bread or brown rice over white rice. Does the fact that they lost weight in these groups mean that calories don't matter? No, just the opposite. In fact, the study found that the subjects ended up consuming fewer calories than they previously had, which is why they lost weight. So really, this isn't a problem of physics as much as it is one of psychology. The study may suggest that people can be tricked into consuming fewer calories by teaching them to eat more nutritious foods. And this makes sense, considering that it's really, really difficult to sit down and eat 2,000 calories of spinach, but it's really, really easy to eat 2,000 calories of ice cream. When you avoid junk food, you're more likely to eat fewer calories by accident. Here's why that's an important distinction compared to the headline. We have no idea how sustainable that diet is. If people don't understand why they're losing weight, if they don't understand calories, they risk gaining it back if they find, for instance, a whole food that they love that is a caloric bomb, like avocados, for instance, and they could end up overeating again. Or they might get fed up with never getting treats, and they could give up on their new healthy lifestyle entirely. One of the nice things about calorie counting for me is that I know I can have an ice cream sundae if I eat fewer calories for dinner and maybe add a run into my day. One of the reasons many people give up on diets is because they miss eating the things that used to bring them joy. So to sum up, it is an interesting study that disproved its hypothesis, which had nothing to do with calorie counting. And it's a misleading headline in the New York Times that is only partially redeemed by the actual article. But hey, I bet Gary Taubes is relieved that they made this story all about calorie counting instead of the actual result of the study, which debunks his life's work.